cats, cops, and C4. Oh, wow. Why is there an impromptu festival with a courtroom theme happening outside the ship? Gabriella asks, and Cenk snorts hard. Because the Tri-Tite lady is coming, and they know we're the ones who called her here, Cenk says calmly. Oh, that would do this, Gabriella says. I don't fully understand, though. Why are primals so important? What's the big deal? From my understanding, they're ageless and stronger than most races. But with healing comas, everyone's ageless, and if it's just strength, then why aren't soldiers and police officers being worshipped? I don't see shrines to mercenaries or adepts, but I have seen Nagasha take time out of their day to pray for guidance from the primals. I've even seen them lead Urthani to start to pray to their first primal. Really? Oh, the big moth is going to... Actually, I don't know him all that well. Will he like it? Hate it? I know he has the memories of Horus, and that dude slings a mean mojito. Didn't look like the type to like that kind of thing for more than the 10 minutes it takes to get a gag out of it. Cenk remarks, of course they're both on Lacron now, so who knows? Which Lacron? The number's still being debated. It was found about 1,000 years ago, and a colonization attempt was tried and failed. But its old number was taken, and now there's a whole mess in debate. It used to be 297, I think. Well, for one, the original world would have precedent, especially if there's a primal on it. Two, it's the emergence of the primal Urthani, and a primal Nagasha grew up there, and mothered the Nagasha population. I think maybe a fourth of the world population is directly descended from her, Cenk remarks. Wow. So what do you do at a festival? Amy asks. Depends on the festival. We're going to have to investigate this one if we want to know what we can do with it. If you're game, of course, Vera says. I'll get your sister. This should be a family thing. Kaylan remarks before vanishing. It didn't feel like a teleport, but it didn't have the sheer crashing wake or sonic boom of sheer speed. Oh, right, the phasing trick, Cenk notes after a moment. Been a bit since I saw it. Shouldn't take them too long too, Linda begins, before suddenly there are two more people. As I said, indeed, good to see you, May. So this seems to be Amy's first festival. Of any type, do you want to help us with it? How do you help with attending a festival? Vera knows how to party. You can knock skill games out of the park. Linda keeps us from ending up arrested, and I can handle the drinking parts of things. With Gabriella and Kaylan keeping us from making idiots out of ourselves, I think we've got whatever this festival can throw at us handled. I don't know. Seems like that's one party crasher too many. One's usually nearly too much. Vera says in an amused tone as Gabriella and Kaylan try to decide if they've been insulted or not. I guess the rest of us will just have to be extra crazy to match it then. Cenk jokes, and Linda gives him a stern look. That's 3 anchors. This is going to be boring. Vera complains and gets a disappointed look from Linda, who then sighs. I know it's a joke, but come on, Linda says. I have been to a festival like this before, though. It's got a fair amount of games all on the theme of fighting against crime. Really? Well, an officer should be a bit of a celebrity then, Cenk says as Amy looks out over all the stalls and booths opening up along the landing pad that the Dauntless is on. I can't believe this is being allowed, Gabriella notes. What, this massive bump in good optics? A chance for all the undaunted to immerse themselves in the culture of the galaxy and add a bit of our own? So long as they don't come onto the ship itself, this is not only fine, but it's almost a favor. Also, I'll be shocked if there isn't at least one stall with a medical tent right beside it for people to test how well they can take human food or drink. Don't you eat straight poison and drugs? Amy demands. We come from a world where a galactic rarity, poison, is used all over the place in the biosphere. So we're adapted to resist it on a scale that most races can't touch. I expect that wherever that stall is, there's going to be a lot of Canadors and maybe some of that hyper-aggressive Urthani type there. Right, that one of the new Urthani types is really aggressive and has all sorts of extra organs now. Organs humans have. They have the full liver, kidneys, and more. They even have adrenal glands and such, Cenk says before turning as someone shows up. Not that I don't like seeing a lovely family outing, but you are occupying the doorway for a rather long period of time. A proper old voice says behind them, and Cenk pointedly starts moving. That's the ticket, old bean. Enjoy your day. And do remember to keep the young ladies safe. This is a very big move, my dear. Lady Takanped notes as she looms over that U-screen that shows the impromptu party. Of course, the direction she's actually facing is towards the back of the ship, and due to the cameras, it's showing what's happening to the side. It's one thing to gain the attention of a primal. It's another entirely to deliberately call their attention to something, let alone something they have a reputation for despising with a passion. I am aware, Admiral Cistern says. Are you? Lady Takanped turns to regard him. The primals are force majeure. Even if they're obeying and enforcing the law, the more zealous and enthusiastic of their followers can and will follow their whims. You've invited a riot here. Maybe, but I'm also making a statement, which is, I've seen too many mind control methods to be comfortable. I want Centris and its people to at least hesitate when the horrible things are thought of, Admiral Cistern states. But why? There's fighting against unusual opponents, and then there's provoking a creature far beyond yourself. How is this provocation? I am bringing a primal's attention here. If anything, she will be grateful that we are willing to help her in her own crusade against things such as mind-slayers. Bringing all the more attention to you, which is as much the point as help against the damn things is. We have finally hit a turning point with our training. We've trained up enough drill sergeants and other instructors to actually begin a true mass recruitment, or at least one larger than the last effort. This is a big advertisement, and a very public response to someone who messed with us, and a political statement against mind control devices, and a further assertion that we're willing to work with local laws and have little tolerance for those that would steal the mind of others. You're counting on the zealots. The Tritite lady is harsh but fair, brutally fair. She's even ruled against her own desires and openly stated that if she were writing law in one region or another, the verdict would be different. However, she stopped saying such things not because the laws agree with her or she agrees with all laws, but because the few fanatics that follow her are willing to go to prison or even be executed to see a true justice. The trial outcome doesn't even matter. You're making it known that something she publicly hates is here, and the fanatics will go insane, are going insane. I don't need to change the laws around such things, just make it too taboo or too dangerous for certain things to happen. Admiral Cistern states before he steps back to his desk and brings up a data slate that he switches into presentation mode. It shows the holographic readout of several cases of assault where things had grown complicated when it was revealed that the assaulter was trying to rip off some kind of kutha piercing. Kutha piercings that have been tested and proven to have mentally adverse effects. Perhaps not as overwhelmingly dangerous as a mindslayer or a persona nail, but the fact they can be found in abundance by those that better understand how to look for them is telling. You're setting all of Centris into a rabid frenzy against anything that might impugn free will. And from Centris outward, it will flow, as you are intimately aware of the galaxy flows to and from Centris. Even if the policy of it isn't fast-moving or even all that well-liked, it still moves to and from here. It is still a path. Well, I've placed 2 notices into the water. Mind control is unacceptable, and we're recruiting. Admiral Cistern notes even as Lady Takanped scans the reports. These are minor gang issues, things designed to force loyalty. How long until they grow into something worse? The fanatics are easy to rile up, but their babbling will be heard by the zealots who will eventually join them. Then the zealots' own proclamations will be heard by the more extreme follows. Then the moderates, then finally it will pour into the normal and passive followers. From there, it will spread further, especially if it's seen to have positive results. Lady Takanped notes, if this doesn't blow up in your face, that's the beauty of this. It will, and it won't at the same time, Admiral Cistern says with a smile. When they do explode, our recent encounter with the Mother Massacre machine on Vuxa 5 and her hate engine will stoke a mass panic as it becomes known that almost any world could have an apocalyptic level threat on it, which is the explosion. But the explosion will then be forcibly calmed by not 1, not 2, but multiple primals, all preaching calm. After all, I'm in contact with more than the Tritite lady after all. You do know there is no way they don't already know about your potential interference or these effects. And that lays into the beauty of things. The 2 biggest unknowns in this situation have a vested interest in things breaking the way I want it to. Basilash despises these things, and even if she doesn't lash out, it will be known she wants to, and Rakaxa has already been insulted, if not wounded, by the person using Mind Slayers in controlling veils. This will kick up a frenzy against them. A few words from Emmanuel and his dear bride and I suddenly have 4 primals advocating for this. I understand you could order your soldier to agree, but Ysserazin is already an enemy of mind control, or its much more twisted sibling, soul control, Admiral Cistern says, and Lady Tykenped turns to him in shock. Soul control? Are you joking? She demands. I wish I was. However, on Lacran, the undaunted Lacran, there is something there, something bending the natural laws of the galaxy, something that had allowed a madwoman to torment and torture the beloved daughters of Lady Ysserazin for centuries. Something that is still far from understood and very, very odd. Has it been experimented with elsewhere? Her question is probing and very, very eager. The idea of using Axiom to influence souls is, yes, and so far it results in vicious bites from invisible and unstoppable predators that attack the moment you try. We've had to place many researchers in healing comas, but on Lacran, they're absent, so it can only be studied there, she notes. All the attempts to find a proper donor for Lacran, or the following flurry of filled-out paperwork to put it under undaunted control, is suddenly making a lot more sense to her. And so far, one of the most common uses for it was a horrific violation of the soul itself. Believe me when I say that the only primal of the 4 that may be involved in this that might not advocate in our favor is Rakaxa, but the chance of that is extremely slim. She prides herself in being a wild card at times, hence why I don't consider her actions set. Are you trying to start a crusade? No, but I am trying to get things moving, shaking, shifting. More work for you and me. Lady Tykenped notes blandly even as she starts to mentally tally all the different people that will come to her for some kind of favor sooner rather than later. More chances for you to get more of what you want out of life, and more chances for me to get what I want for the Undaunted. True enough, Lady Tykenped says before snapping out her fan to hide a smile. And to think I thought you had no idea how to play the game when we first met. Your command of order and chaos both are nothing short of inspired. Thank you, milady. I learn well and thoroughly under pressure, and what wonderful pressure there is to be found here on Centris, Admiral Cistern says, stepping up beside her. Don't expect to rest well tonight. We have much to do. I look forwards to it. Take all the time you need. Cenk advises Amy as she tries to properly judge things, and then throws a bean-filled ball at a stack of cups. She nicks one to the side and it topples not only that one, but the 2 that were stacked on top. Oh, very nice throw. What will it be, sweetie? The inflated judge's mallet? The book of law with hidden compartment? Or the plush bailiff? The stand operator asks, showing the prizes for knocking down half the stack to Amy, who looks over them all excitedly. The girl had found her footing very well and was going from game to game to try and experience everything she possibly could, which no one, not even Gabriella, could find fault in.